You know what's funny about horror movies? Everyone always says, I would have survived that, or I would have just done this instead. Well, I've spent years of my life analyzing horror movies, and I found 10 monsters that you absolutely would not survive, no matter how smart you think that you are. And the most dangerous one, it's not even what you're thinking. It's not the biggest, it's not the strongest, but it's the one that has 100% kill rate. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why this particular monster makes survival completely impossible. Look, I already know that you're thinking, not me, I'm built different. Don't be that guy that hits the like and subscribe button and then comments it in the comments. Everyone did that on my last video. Trust me, I've seen thousands of horror movies and I'm about to show you why these monsters, they're built different. Let's start with something that seems simple. The pale lady from Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, kind of a baddie. You're probably thinking, oh great, another slow walking ghost lady, just run the other way. I mean, that's horror 101, right? See spooky thing, run away from spooky thing. But here's the thing, the pale lady doesn't play by your rules. She doesn't need to chase you because she's already everywhere you're gonna run. Think about it, she literally controls the space around you. Every hallway leads back to her, every door opens to her, every turn brings you face to face with that cute smile. The very fabric of reality becomes her weapon. Just break through a wall, you say? Well, good luck with that when she's warping reality itself. This isn't your standard ghost that you can outsmart with salt circles or ancient prayers or Scooby-Doo magic shit. The pale lady turns the very concept of escape against you. You can't fight what you can't comprehend, and she operates on a level that makes your basic understanding of space and time completely useless. What makes her truly terrifying isn't just her appearance though that smile will haunt your nightmares. And that figure. It's the absolute certainty of your encounter. She doesn't just kill you, she makes you walk right into her arms like a warm, embracing hug, and then you get absorbed into her, which is kind of weird. It's literally like getting the choice of 3 doors, but all of them end in your doom. Let's talk about that walk. She doesn't rush, doesn't run, she doesn't even need to. That slow, inevitable approach is psychological warfare at its finest. Your brain has time to process exactly what's about to happen, but can't do anything about it. It's like having sleep paralysis, except you're wide awake and your legs are working just fine. They're just taking you exactly where she wants you to go. Sure, you could try cardio. Maybe train for a marathon, hit the gym, become the next Olympic sprinter, yada yada, but when reality itself is working against you, your Fitbit stats aren't gonna save you. The pale lady isn't just a monster. It's a reminder that sometimes the scariest thing isn't what's chasing you. It's the realization that you were never in control to begin with. She doesn't just kill you, she makes you understand with every step that escape was never an option. But if you think being trapped in an endless corridor with your ex is bad, wait until you see what our next monster does to the very concept of reality itself. Speaking of reality bending horrors, let's talk about the Rituals monster. You know, that massive antlered forest god that's basically what would happen if Norse mythology had a nightmare. Actually, scratch that. Since writing that in my script, I looked up Norse mythology. It's all a nightmare anyways. This is pretty par for the course. Before you say, just stay out of the woods, good luck with that when the thing can literally get inside your head and make you walk right into the forest. Think about every survival skill you've learned from watching horror movies. Running, this thing owns the entire forest. Every tree, every shadow, every path is its playground. Hiding, it can make you see whatever it wants you to see. Your perfect hiding spot probably doesn't even exist. Fighting back? Dude, come on. Try throwing hands at an ancient deity that's been collecting sacrifices since before your ancestors figured out how to make fire. But what if I just, no, stop right there. This isn't your typical woodland critter that you can just outsmart with some clever traps or avoid with a GPS. This thing doesn't just hunt you physically. It psychologically dismantles you piece by piece. It reaches into your mind, pulls out your deepest traumas, and uses them as bait. Imagine trying to escape while constantly reliving your worst memories and traumas. I literally have a 6th grader beating me up because I didn't give them my sandwich. You'd be unable to trust if what you're seeing is real or just another trick. Your own mind becomes a maze you can't escape from. But that's not even the worst part, because let's talk about its followers, because nothing says you're absolutely screwed quite like an ancient cult that's been keeping this thing fed for centuries. These people have turned survival into a religion. And guess what? You're not the survivor in their story. You're the sacrifice. They've got home field advantage, generations of experience, and the backing of a literal forest Norse god. Your weekend camping trips and that one time you went hiking, that's like bringing a water pistol to nuclear warfare. But the worst part, this monster doesn't just want to end you. It wants to break you. It wants you to understand your place in the food chain. You're not just dealing with some mindless beast. You're up against something that's been perfecting the art of horror since before humans invented writing. It's patient, it's intelligent, and it knows exactly how to make you lose your mind before it takes your life. So unless you've got a degree in Norse mythology, the survival skills of Bear Grylls, and the mental fortitude of a Buddhist monk, you're not making it out of those woods. And even if you had all that, you'd just be a more entertaining sacrifice. But at least with the ritual monster, you can see what's coming for you. Our next creature, it's what happens when evolution has a mental breakdown. And trust me, you're not ready for this one. Let's talk about the monsters from the void and why your brain would probably break before they even got to your body. You think you've seen body horror before? These Lovecraftian nightmares make the Thing look like a kid's puppet show. And no, that's not an exaggeration. These things literally reshape reality like it's Play-Doh. Just shoot them. I hear you typing in your comments. With what? Your human weapons against creatures that literally don't operate under the laws of physics? These things aren't just from another dimension. They're walking middle fingers to reality itself. Your bullets might as well be spitballs against beings that can turn your intestines into tentacles and your skin into a doorway to hell. And trust me, that's not even the worst thing they can do to you. And then let's talk about the cult that worships them, because apparently these cosmic horrors come with their own fan club of humans who've completely lost their mind. But here's the truly terrifying part. The cultists aren't crazy. They've just seen enough to understand how insignificant we really are. When you're face to face with something that makes reality its plaything, madness starts looking pretty reasonable. The cultists aren't the real monsters here. They're just a preview of what's coming. The real nightmare isn't just what these creatures can do to your body. It's what they can do to your understanding of existence. Every rule you thought you knew about how the world works, gone. The laws of physics, more like suggestions. Your own body, just clay for them to reshape into their own twisted art project. And they get quite creative. Imagine Picasso on acid with the power to remake flesh. Sure, you might think you're tough. Maybe you've got military training, maybe you're a survival expert, maybe you've got a really big frying pan. But what's your contingency plan for when your own arm decides to grow eyes and start speaking in 7 different tongues? What's the survival strategy for when the wall behind you suddenly becomes alive and hungry? There's no survival guide for dealing with entities that treat our dimension like a personal playground. The worst part, you can't even go insane properly. These things keep you conscious enough to experience every moment of your transformation. You don't get the mercy of losing your mind. You stay aware as reality itself turns against you. They want you to understand exactly what's happening as they unmake everything you thought was real. But as cosmically terrifying as the void creatures are, at least they're obvious about being monsters. Our next nightmare, it wears a human face, and that might be the scariest part of all, because sometimes the worst monsters are the ones that could have been human. So speaking of monsters wearing human faces, let's talk about the mother from Barbarian. And before you say, oh, it's just a mutant in a basement, let me explain why this creature is a masterclass and why you're absolutely fucked. If you thought your mom was overbearing, buckle up. This takes helicopter parenting to a whole new underground level. Think you'll just avoid the basement? Ha! That's cute. The mother has turned an entire network of underground tunnels into her playground. We're talking about a labyrinth that would make the Minotaur jealous, except instead of one monster, you've got something that combines superhuman strength with the most twisted version of maternal instinct you've ever seen. Your therapist is not going to be able to help you with these mommy issues, but I'd just fight back. Yeah, good luck with that. The mother isn't just strong. She's generations of inbreeding and survival distilled into pure nightmare fuel. You know how mama bears are terrifying when protecting their cubs? Now imagine that strength amplified by decades of underground evolution mixed with human intelligence and completely unrestrained by any moral compass. This isn't the kind of mother you can just send to a nursing home when she's getting too crazy. Here's what makes the mother truly terrifying. She doesn't just want to kill you, sometimes she wants to care for you. And trust me, that's a lot worse. Imagine being protected by something that thinks crushing your bones is a form of love. Your survival instincts become completely useless because everything you normally do to escape just makes her more determined to help you. Talk about attachment issues. And you thought your mom trying to add you on Snapchat was bad. Sure, you might be thinking, I'm pretty good at navigating dark places. Maybe you've got some spelunking experience, but I promise you, your weekend cave exploring hasn't prepared you for a tunnel system where every wrong turn leads to a creature that can snap you like a twig while trying to, nurse you. This isn't the kind of mother-child bonding experience they write cards about, let's just say. And let's talk about that darkness. The mother sees perfectly in it. She's evolved for it. You're stumbling around with your phone flashlight that's about to die. She knows every inch of those tunnels, every hiding spot, every dead end. It's like playing hide and seek with something that wrote the rule book, except the rules are all about how many ways she can break you And no, calling CPS is not an option. But at least with the mother, you know what you're dealing with once you see her. Our next monster, it's already closer than you think, because it might be living inside someone you know, and they don't even know it yet. Let's talk about Gabriel from Malignant, and why this parasitic twin makes your sibling rivalries look like a playground dispute. Think your brother stealing your Xbox controller was bad? Try having a literal monster living in the back of your head who can steal control of your entire body. And I mean that literally. This thing is the ultimate backseat driver from hell. Just fight back. Oh, you sweet, sweet child. How exactly do you plan to fight something that's basically hijacked your body's admin privileges? Gabriel isn't just some tumor with an attitude. He's a parasitic twin who turns your body into a murder puppet with superhuman strength. We're talking backwards running at sprint speeds, spine-breaking acrobatics, and the kind of flexibility that would make a contortionist say, nah, I'm good. Imagine being forced to do parkour against your will. 1 minute you're chilling on your couch, scrolling some TikTok, the next you're running backwards faster than Usain Bolt while your spine's doing interpretive dancing. Not exactly the kind of core workout you were planning, huh? Your Fitbit would have an absolute meltdown trying to track this. But here's what makes Gabriel truly terrifying. He's always there, just waiting. You can't block his number, you can't ghost him, and you definitely can't get a restraining order. It's like having the world's worst roommate, except they live in your skull and can take over your Netflix account and your entire body whenever they want. And trust me, Gabriel's watch list is nothing but horrible snuff films. And let's talk about his fighting style. This isn't your standard throw a punch, dodge a kick kind of fight. Gabriel turns your body into a human Swiss Army knife of horror. And you think you're tough because you did a few MMA classes, or you decide to pick up boxing because you like Logan Paul or something? Try fighting someone who can fold themselves into a human origami murder machine. This isn't street fighting. This is street fighting directed by David Cronenberg on bath salts. The scariest part, you wouldn't even know if you had your own Gabriel until it was too late. Maybe that weird headache isn't just from your energy drink addiction. Maybe those strange urges to just do backflips randomly isn't from watching too many Olympics. Maybe that voice in your head isn't just intrusive thoughts. That's something to think about, isn't it? But at least Gabriel only takes over one body at a time. Our next monsters, they're what happens when the entire upper class decides that being rich isn't enough. They want to be predators too. And trust me, eating the rich takes on a whole new meaning in this movie, because we gotta talk about the 1%, the socialites from society. Society! Get your jokes out already. I know what you're gonna say. This has nothing to do with the Joker. These monsters prove that eat the rich works both ways. You think wealth inequality is bad now? These trust fund babies don't just want your money. They want to literally turn you into their next juice cleanse. And I'm not even talking metaphorically here. Just avoid rich people. Yeah, because that's totally possible in late stage capitalism. These aren't just your standard Instagram influencers flaunting their sugar daddy's credit card. These are shape-shifting elites who've been running the world's longest running dinner party. Imagine if the entire cast of Desperate Housewives could melt into flesh-eating blobs and absorb you for nutrients. Sorry for that mental image, by the way. What makes the socialites truly terrifying is how they've turned the whole system into their personal kitchen. They don't just have money, they have influence, connections, and enough power to make you disappear faster than your ex's text messages after they break up with you. Think about it. When was the last time you saw a billionaire actually face consequences for anything? Now you know why. They were too busy having their critics for breakfast. Literally. Sure, you might think you're safe because you shop at Target instead of Gucci, but these monsters have turned social climbing the ladder into an all-you-can-eat buffet. That LinkedIn connection request from the CEO, that's not a networking opportunity. That's a dinner reservation. And spoiler alert, you're not getting the job. You are the job. And the position is the roasted turkey on Thanksgiving. Let's talk about their feeding process. They call it shunting. Remember that scene in your high school biology class that makes you queasy? These people don't just eat you. They turn you into human fondue at their twisted country club adult fun time parties, if you catch my drift. Your credit card debt might be sucking you dry, but at least it's not literally turning you into upper class soup. The worst part, they've been doing this since before your great grandpa was a twinkle in someone's eye. Every market crash, every housing crisis, every time your rent went up, that wasn't just the invisible hand of the market. That was the socialites getting the munchies. They're not just eating you, they're digesting the entire socioeconomic ladder, one tax bracket at a time. But at least the socialites, you can try to stay poor and off their radar. Our next monsters, they don't care about your bank account. They just care about whether you can keep quiet. And spoiler alert, you definitely can't. Now let's talk about the monsters in A Quiet Place and why your loud self wouldn't last 5 minutes in their world. And as someone with Tourette's, let me tell tell you, I'd be the first one to go. These things can hear you blink too loud from a mile away. And I'm over here yelling random noises like, like it's my job. I remember as a kid, I'd be trying to sit quietly in class and I just couldn't do it. It didn't make any sense to me. Why can I not just be silent? And then I become an adult and I realized, oh, that's why. But for me, it'd be game over before it even starts. I wouldn't make it past 3 years old. Just be quiet. Oh, you sweet, sweet child. Can't even watch Netflix without the subtitles. And I'm literally a human noise machine. These creatures don't just hear well. They've turned the entire planet into one giant game of Deadly Simon Says. Except the only rule is shut up or die. Anytime I would do something, it would basically be a dinner bell for these things. Come and get your free meal, now with sound effects. Let's break down why we're all absolutely screwed. First off, do you have any idea how many involuntary sounds your body makes? Sneezing, coughing, stomach growling, and that's just normal people. Me, I'm like a one-man band of random noises. Got allergies? Dead. Sleep apnea? Dead. Random urge to shout pickle in the middle of hiding? Dead, dead, dead. Farting in your sleep? Dead. Sure, you might think you could adapt. Maybe you know some sign language, maybe you're good at being stealthy, but let me ask you this. Have you ever tried to step on a Lego in complete silence? Because in this world, that would be the difference between life and death. And don't even get me started on trying to use the bathroom quietly. That's a whole new level of performance anxiety that I am not used to. Like, imagine you gotta poop really, really bad, but you gotta do it silently. I don't know how that's possible. The real nightmare isn't just staying quiet, it's staying quiet forever. Every single movement has to be planned, every step calculated. Imagine trying to cook dinner without making a sound. Or better yet, imagine trying to tell someone you love them without making a noise. Maybe that's why no one's ever told me that they love me. Now imagine trying to do that for the rest of your life. These monsters would basically have all of our locations on speed dial. And let's talk about those hunting speeds. These things move faster than my mom when I accidentally swear in front of my grandma. By the time you've realized you've made a sound, they're already there and their face is doing that origami thing that, you know what, we don't even have to go there. But at least with these creatures, you know exactly what attracts them. Our next monster, it doesn't just haunt you, it makes you relive your worst memories while it does it. And trust me, this one's gonna make you wish you were just dealing with super hearing monsters. Let's talk about the bear from Annihilation and why this isn't your average picnic basket thief. You think regular bears are scary? Boy, this one's got a built-in Bluetooth speaker playing nothing but death screams. And not just random screams. We're talking about your friend's last moments on repeat like the world's most traumatizing TikTok sound. Just climb a tree. My brother in Christ, you are not that guy. Have you seen a regular bear climb? They're basically furry rockets with claws. Now imagine one that's been dunked in alien juice and can perfectly mimic your bestie's cry for help. This isn't your average forest creature. It's what happens when Mother Nature watches too many psychological thrillers and decides to get a bit experimental. Let's break this down. Normal bears can already smell your fear from a mile away and bench press your car for fun. This one, it's got all that plus a PhD in psychological warfare. Picture this. You hear your friend screaming, "Help me," so you run to save them, only to find out it's actually a mutant bear doing its best impression. That's not hunting. That's therapy-inducing trauma with fur. Sure, you might think you're ready because you've watched every Bear Grylls episodes. Make yourself look big, make noise, play dead. Cool plan. Except this bear's already got a whole playlist of the greatest hits from its previous victims. It's literally like a karaoke box, and it just picks out the most disturbing sounds it can think of. The worst part isn't even that it'll kill you. It's that it'll make you famous for all the wrong reasons. This thing is basically running nature's most twisted podcast, and you're about to become the next episode. Your final moments? Just another sample in its mixtape. Except this mixtape is not fire, it's deadly. And let's talk about how beautiful this thing looks. This isn't your average chunky boy who's gotten into too many honeypots. This bear looks like someone described a grizzly to an AI that was only trained on heavy metal album covers and bad acid trips. It's what happens when evolution says, you know what would make bears worse? Everything. But at least the bear keeps its horror on solid ground. Our next monster, it turns the sky itself into a death trap. And trust me, after this, you're never gonna trust a cloud again. Let's talk about Jean Jacket from Nope. You think UFOs are scary? This thing makes alien abduction look like a Spirit Airlines flight. And that's saying something. Imagine a cosmic predator that turns the entire sky into its personal DoorDash radius. And you're not the delivery driver, you're the meal. Just stay indoors. My guy, this thing can literally disguise itself as a cloud. Yeah, that cute little bunny-shaped cloud you've pointed out to your girlfriend could have been a giant space jellyfish waiting to slurp you up like the last bit of boba in your tea. There goes your entire childhood of cloud watching. Thanks, trauma. Let's break down why you're absolutely done for. This isn't your standard History Channel UFO trying to probe you for science. Jean Jacket is what happens when evolution looks at a jellyfish and thinks, you know what would make this worse? If it could fly and eat entire crowds the size of Coachella. It doesn't just eat you, it It puts you through its cosmic washing machine on the wrong spin cycle while making it rain blood like the world's most metal weather system. Sure, you might think you're safe because you've got a roof over your head, but this thing EMPs all your electronics faster than your mom shutting off the Wi-Fi at night. No phones, no cameras, no tweeting your last moments. Gen Z would be fucked. Let's talk about that feeding process. You don't just die. You get to experience being trapped in its giant alien stomach with everyone else it caught, like the worst music festival mosh pit ever. Except instead of crowd surfing, you're just surfing through other people's remains. It's basically a cosmic water park where every slide ends in digestion. The scariest part, it's patient. This thing will just chill there, waiting to turn your backyard barbecue into its personal Uber Eats order. Planning an outdoor birthday party, that's not rain that's about to ruin your cake. That's Jean Jacket deciding your whole party looks like an appetizer sampler. But at least with Jean Jacket, you can see your doom coming, even if it's pretending to be a cute little cloud sheep. Our final monster, it's already in your head, because it is your head. And after this one, you'll never want to open your mouth again. Our final monster, the one that makes all the others look like a Sesame Street episode, the language zombies from Pontypool. You may not know about this movie, but you're gonna wish you don't after watching this. You know how your mom said words can't hurt? Well, these ones don't just hurt. They literally scramble your brain like an egg in a blender and turn you into a murder-happy zombie. Just don't talk. Bro, you can't even go 5 minutes without checking Twitter. The virus isn't just in talking, it's in understanding the English language itself. That's right, the language you're using right now to think this guy is stupid is exactly what's gonna turn your brain into zombie soup. Even your inner voice saying, bruh, isn't safe. Try not thinking in English. Go ahead. Oh, wait. Yeah, that's what I thought. Let's break down why this is peak we're all screwed territory. You can't run from it. You can't fight it. You can't even think about fighting it without risking infection. It's like having a virus that spreads through understanding itself. The moment certain words click in your head, boom, you're done. It's basically Duolingo's evil twin, except instead of passive-aggressive notifications, you get actual death. Sure, you might think, I'll just learn another language. Right, because you've been so successful with those 3 years in high school Spanish. Most of us still point at menu items like cavemen, and now you're gonna become fluent in Korean overnight? Good luck with that speed run while English is trying to delete your brain. The real nightmare, you can't even warn anybody. Every attempt to explain the danger just spreads it faster. Imagine trying to tell someone their shoelaces are untied, but saying shoelaces makes their feet explode. That's the level of messed up we're dealing with. Even this video would be lethal in that world. I'm sorry, I guess. But here's the kicker. You never know which words are infected. Having a nice chat about the weather. Congrats, you're patient zero. Trying to order at McDonald's? Well, the ice cream machine isn't the only thing that's broken anymore. Now it's your brain too. It's like playing Wordle, where every wrong guess turns you into a zombie. And that's why out of all of these monsters, the language zombies are the most terrifying. Because right now, as you're watching this, you're using the very thing that could kill you. You know what's funny about horror movies? Everyone's a survival expert from their couch. Just don't go in the basement. Why would you split up? Well, today I'm gonna crush your main character syndrome with 10 supernatural entities from 10 different horror movies that would absolutely wreck you. The scariest part, the deadliest one at the end isn't even what you'd expect. It's got a 100% kill rate, and your plot armor, yeah, it's thinner than you think. If you're already typing, not me though, I'm built different, in the comments, hit pause, hit the like button, and subscribe. Because by the end of this video, you'll realize that the only thing scarier than these monsters is how wrong you are about to be about surviving them. Trust me, your built different is not built for this. Let's start with what everyone thinks is the easy mode of supernatural threats. The entities from Ghostbusters. You're probably thinking, really? The movie with the giant marshmallow man? Yeah, I see you in the comments already typing, but they're just funny ghosts. Let me explain why you wouldn't last 5 minutes in this universe. And no, your engineering degree or your anime training wouldn't save you. First up, we're not dealing with your friendly neighborhood Casper here. We're talking about Gozer, an ancient god that can literally choose any form to destroy you with. Remember what happened when the characters had to make that choice? One random thought about a marshmallow mascot turned into a 100-foot death machine. Now imagine what your anxiety-riddled brain would cook up. That embarrassing memory from 3rd grade that keeps you up at night? Congrats, it's now 50 stories tall and shooting lightning. I'd just build my own proton pack. Right, because we all have spare nuclear accelerators lying around next to our Christmas decorations. The real Ghostbusters were literal scientists with PhDs, and even they nearly caused total protonic reversal.
That's bad.
That's science talk for goodbye existence. Speaking of which, let's talk about those proton streams. Crossing them is basically hitting the delete button on reality itself. The Ghostbusters almost ended the world by accident multiple times, and they were professionals. Me and you can barely park without having an existential crisis. Come on. But here's the real kicker. Even if you somehow got all of the equipment working, you'd still have to actually catch these things. I've seen all of us try to catch spiders with a cup. Now imagine doing that with a nuclear-powered laser beam against something that can fly through walls and possess you faster than your ex possessed your Netflix account. But hey, if you think Ghostbusters is too easy mode, just wait until you see what our next monster does. At least the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man had the courtesy to be visible. If you're taking a selfie and hated how you look, well, imagine checking your phone and finding pictures of your own dead body. Welcome to Lake Mungo, where your camera roll becomes your obituary. Now, I know what you're thinking. Another ghost story? Please, I've watched them all. But this isn't your standard ghost orb caught on camera situation. This is next level psychological warfare. Just don't go to the lake. Wow, revolutionary thinking there, Chief. But here's the thing. Lake Mungo isn't just about a haunted location. It's about seeing your own future death in crystal clear HD and knowing there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. Think about it. Every time you check your phone, every security camera you pass, every Zoom call you join, you might catch a glimpse of your own corpse just chilling in the background. Try doom scrolling through Instagram with that kind of paranoia. Your screen time would drop faster than your will to live. But I just changed my fate. Ha ha. Right, because you're clearly smarter than every other person who's tried that in the history of horror. This isn't Final Destination where you can just avoid tanning beds and roller coasters. This is your own personal ghost showing up to spoil the ending of your life story. But hey, at least with Lake Mungo, you only have to see yourself die once. Our next monster is gonna make you experience death on repeat, like a looping TikTok or YouTube short trend that you can't escape. Think being stuck in a time loop would be fun? Wake up, try something new, eventually figure it out like Bill Murray? Yeah, Triangle is about to make you never want to hit the snooze button again. Now I can already see you in the comments, just map out every possibility and find the exit pattern. My friend, this isn't your Sunday morning puzzle hunt. This is what happens when time itself decides to bully you harder than the people bullied me as a child. Here's your situation. You're trapped on an abandoned ocean cruise ship. Spooky, but manageable, right? Until you start running into other versions of yourself. Not just one or two, we're talking about enough yous to fill a concert venue. I just work with my other selves to escape. Haha, right, because you're such a team player with yourself. How many decisions do you have to fight yourself on a day-to-day basis? Now imagine trying to coordinate with 50 different versions of you, each one more unhinged than the last. And here's where it gets really messed up. Every single attempt to break free just creates more loops. You're not just dying once, you've become your own kill compilation video. And the best part, you remember every single time. It's like having your most embarrassing memory played on repeat, except the embarrassing part is watching yourself die again and again. But I document everything and solve the pattern. Come on, man, we barely remember our phone passwords every morning. But sure, we'll definitely keep track of infinite timelines while watching ourselves become the speedrun champions of death. The worst part, your consciousness stays intact through it all. Your brain doesn't reset, it just keeps stacking trauma like a Jenga tower of psychological damage. Your therapist would literally need a therapist at this point. But hey, at least on this cruise ship, you've got some room to run around. Our next nightmare, it locks you in an abandoned psychiatric hospital where the building itself is playing a deadly game of floor is lava. Except the floor isn't lava, it's just another entrance to your personal hell. You ever watch those ghost hunting shows and think, wow, these people are so dramatic over literally nothing? Well, Grave Encounters is what happens when the ghosts finally get tired of your 1-star Yelp reviews, decide to turn your paranormal investigation into permanent residency. I can hear you. Please, I've got the night vision cameras and one of those spirit box things from Amazon. Cool equipment, bro. Let's see how this works when the building decides to play Tetris with its own architecture. Here's your nightmare scenario. You're locked in a psychiatric hospital where time just gave up. It's always night, forever. Think that's not so bad? Try pulling an internal all-nighter while the building's playing SimCity with itself. That exit you found? Surprise, it's now a wall. The hallway you came from? Hope you like rock climbing. I just map out the building. With what? Your iPhone's compass app? The building changes faster than my ex updated their relationship status on Facebook. Your carefully planned escape route just becomes abstract art and not the kind that sells for millions. And these ghosts? They're not just here to haunt you. These entities are what happen when trauma gets its own postal code. They don't want to photobomb your selfies like in other entries on our list. They want to make you their new bestie forever in the afterlife. And trust me, they're not making you friendship bracelets. But I document everything and it'd be okay, sure. Because angry spirits totally respect your content creation schedule. Your phone's going to have less battery than my will to live after reading the comments section. And that's assuming your ghosts don't turn your $1,000 iPhone into a very expensive paperweight. The real kicker, the longer you stay, the more your brain turns into a scrambled egg. Every door becomes a trust issue. Every wall starts looking suspicious. It's like being designed in a killer escape room. But hey, at least these ghosts are upfront about wanting you dead. Our next nightmare, it's got a whole multi-generational plan for your soul, and spoiler alert, your family tree is about to become kindling for a very different kind of housewarming party. So you've watched a few episodes of ghost hunting shows, and now you think you're actually ready to take on a real haunted house. Let me introduce you to Bathsheba, the witch who's about to turn your paranormal investigation into a permanent retirement plan in the home of death. I already know what you're saying, just cleanse the house with sage. Aw, that's adorable. You think your Etsy crystals and TikTok cleansing rituals are gonna work on a witch who's been terrorizing families since before electricity was a thing? Let's break down your actual situation. You're not just dealing with a haunted house, you're dealing with cursed land. Your property value isn't just dropping, you're doing a speed run to zero. That sage bundle you've bought, might as well try fighting Godzilla with a pool noodle. I'll just call an exorcist. Right, because demon removers are totally available on DoorDash and on a whim. Even the Warrens, who literally had a museum of cursed objects in their basement, almost got deleted trying to handle the situation. Your local psychic who reads palms at the mall isn't exactly qualified for this promotion. Here's the real nightmare fuel. Bathsheba doesn't want to spook you, she wants to possess you and turn you into your family's personal murder playlist. Imagine your mom's passive-aggressive comments at Thanksgiving, except now she's actually trying to turn you into a human sacrifice. Family game night just got way more competitive. Then I'll just move away. Dude, this isn't a real estate problem. It's a witch picked your bloodline as her favorite reality show problem. She's more persistent than your ex who still watches your posts after 2 years later. And good luck researching your way out of this one. You can't figure out why your Wi-Fi keeps dropping home. But sure, you'll definitely crack the case of a century-old curse while dodging possession attempts and trying not to get murdered by your own IKEA furniture. But hey, at least with this witch, you can see what's coming for you. Our next nightmare, it's gonna make you question every mirror you've ever owned. And trust me, your reflection's been waiting a long time for this reunion. You know that thing where you stare at your reflection too long, start freaking yourself out? Well, the laser glass is about to turn your mirror anxiety into a full-blown psychological nightmare. And no, your oddly satisfying mirror cleaning TikTok hacks aren't gonna help you here. Let me guess, just set up cameras everywhere. Adorable. This mirror doesn't just show reflections, it literally rewrites reality. Those fancy cameras you set up, congratulations, you just bought really expensive paperweights. Here's the fun part. This mirror can make you bite into a light bulb while fully convinced it's an apple. Let that sink in. We still get confused by push-pull doors, but you think you can really outsmart something that can literally control-alt-delete your perception of reality? I just prepare backup plans. Right, because Home Alone style traps are totally gonna work when the mirror can make you forget they even exist. This thing's got more mind games than all the 20-year-old exes combined, and it's been practicing them since before Instagram filters were a thing. The real nightmare fuel? Nothing is trustworthy. Is your hand really on fire, or is it fine? It's like having a gaslighting expert living in your house, except this one's been perfecting its craft for centuries. And forget about keeping track of time. This mirror warps hours like your TikTok For You page at 3 AM. Except instead of losing time to dance trends and funny cat videos, you're watching yourself slowly lose your grip on reality. Then I'll just destroy it. Sure, and I bet you think you can delete all your embarrassing photos from the internet too. This mirror's got better survival skills than a Nokia phone in like a blender. But hey, at least this nightmare stays in one place, right? Our next paranormal monster, it's about to make your cardio routine look like a joke, because no amount of running is gonna save you for what's coming. You know how people say just keep moving forward in life and everything will be okay? Well, It Follows is about to turn that motivational poster in your mom's living room to your worst nightmare. And no, your Fitbit tracking isn't gonna help you escape this one. I can already hear all the fitness bros. Just outrun it. Listen, Marathon Man, this isn't your local 5K. This entity's got infinite stamina, perfect GPS tracking, and absolutely zero chill. It's like having a stalker X as supernatural cardio in a restraining order that just makes them laugh. Here's the fun part. It can look like literally anyone. Your mom, your best friend, that guy who always takes the last coffee at work, and only you can see it. Try explaining to your friends why you're running from a Girl Scout who's trying to sell you cookies. No guys, I swear that 8-year-old is not trying to kill me. I'll just move to another continent. Cute. While you're dealing with DSA and jet lag, this thing's already walking across the ocean floor like it's taking a sunset beach stroll. The Pacific Ocean is just a really big puddle to this thing. The real nightmare fuel, every single person walking towards you becomes sus. Is that actually your grandma coming in for a hug? Or is it the entity about to yeet you into the afterlife? Congrats, you now have trust issues with every human out there. Sleep, that's adorable. While you're catching your Z's, it's catching up. It's basically a Terminator powered by anxiety. It absolutely will not stop until you are dead. Your power naps just became power panic attacks. Then I'll just fight it. Yeah, good luck with that UFC strategy against something that literally can't die. What's your backup plan? But hey, at least with the It Follows, you can see death walking towards you. Our next nightmare, it's already dead, lying on a cold metal slab. And trust me, this autopsy is about to reveal why some bodies should stay unexamined. You ever Googled your random symptoms when you're sick at 3 a.m. and convince yourself you're dying? Well, Jane Doe is about to make your medical anxiety look like a paper cut. And no, binge watching Grey's Anatomy with your mom did not prepare you for this. It's just a dead body. What's the big deal? Oh, my sweet, sweet friend. This isn't your standard anatomy class cadaver. This is what happens when a centuries-old witch decides to play dead, and spoiler alert, she not dead. Let's break down your situation. You're locked in a morgue with the world's most suspicious corpse. No decay, no rigor mortis, but inside, every trauma imaginable with 0 external marks. It's like someone played Operation on nightmare mode and you just buzzed all of the edges. Just leave. Cute. You think the witch who's been playing dead longer than the Rizzler's been alive is gonna let you just get out of this situation? This morgue isn't just your workplace anymore. It's her escape room, and you're about to become the permanent exhibit. Here's where it gets spicy. She doesn't just wake up. She brings all your other patients at the morgue to the party. Imagine every single dead body at your job coming alive. That's not fun. I'll fight back with my medical equipment because I'm working in a morgue. Right, because your dissection kit and scalpel is totally gonna work against something that took a medieval burning at the stake as a spa day. You're done. But hey, at least Jane Doe waits until you start the autopsy before ruining your life. Our next nightmare, it's been planning your family's destructions before your grandparents met. And trust me, this one's inheritance you can't decline. Now, the paranormal entity that you're definitely not going to survive, the big baddie, well, let me introduce you to the Grams from Hereditary, where family drama means accidentally becoming a vessel for an ancient demon king. And no amount of family therapy sessions are going to prepare you for this level of ancestral trauma. Just don't participate in the cult stuff. Dude, this isn't the girl that you went to high school with trying to sell you crystals to be a part of her MLM. This is Payman, a demon king who's been working on your family's downfall longer than literally movies have been made. Let's break down your actual situation. Your entire bloodline has been carefully curated like some demonic breeding program. That weird thing your grandma always did? Not quirky, it was ritual preparation. Those specific family traditions, actually, that's demon worship. That antique locket she left you as a cute little gift when she died, basically it's a demon's tracking device. I'll just cut off contact with my family. Right, because that always works so well in the history of forever. You think you can just ghost a demon king who's been investing in your bloodline longer than literally everything's been alive? This isn't blocking a weird stalker. This is trying to block a supernatural demon. Here's the real nightmare fuel though. The possession is coming from inside the family. Mom's not just being passive aggressive at Thanksgiving anymore. She's being possessed aggressive. And dad's dad jokes, they're about to get way darker. Like summoning ancient evil darker. And your sister, she's about to lose her head. Then I'll just refuse to cooperate. Cute, do you think free will exists when dealing with a demon who's been planning your life since before movies have been around? This isn't like declining a party invite to a weird family get-together. This is literally being forced to show up. The ultimate plot twist though? Payman doesn't want to kill you. That would be too easy. He wants to wear you like a designer meat suit for eternity. Yeah, dude wants to basically flex your skin like it's Gucci. You ever watched a horror movie and thought, these people are stupid, I could easily survive this? Well, think again, because today we're diving into the world of horror villains so horrifying, so unstoppable that even you won't be able to survive them. And don't be that one guy that comments, nah, not me though, because by the end of this video, you will see that there's no way you are surviving these horror villains. But if you want a better chance of surviving them, here's a friendly tip. Hit the like and subscribe button, because if you don't, they're gonna be at your door tonight. That is not a threat, that's a promise. First up, let's talk about Art the Clown, a name that sounds harmless until you realize this mime makes Pennywise look like party entertainment. Art is from the Terrifier series, and believe me, he's not here to make you balloon animals. He might make your intestines into balloon animals, but who knows? So who is Art the Clown? Picture a clown dressed in black and white, face painted a ghastly white, and a smile that says, "Run while you still can." Oh, and did I mention that he's completely silent? He doesn't speak at all. Nothing screams terror like a clown who doesn't scream at you. Art first came into our nightmares in the 2013 film All Hallows Eve, before getting his own spotlight in the Terrifier franchise. He lurks the streets on Halloween night, but instead of collecting candy, he's more into collecting other things. With superhuman strength and an uncanny ability to survive just about anything, he's less of a man and more of a supernatural phenomenon. So let's get to the burning question. Why wouldn't you survive an encounter with Art? Well, for starters, he can teleport. Yes, you heard that right. You think you've lost him in a dark alley? Think again. He's probably already waiting for you around the next corner. And his silence, it means you'll never even hear him coming until it's too late. Art's unpredictability is another fatal flaw in your survival plan. He doesn't follow the usual horror villain handbook. One moment he's toying with his victims, the next he's unleashed a level of brutality that's off the charts. This clown does not play by the rules. In fact, in the first Terrifier movie, he seems like the type of killer who likes knives, blunt objects, and other sorts of things like that to do his business, until it looks like one of the main characters is about to beat him. That's when he pulls out a fucking gun. In normal horror movies, usually a killer sticks to their weapon of choice. Not Art. Nothing is off the table for him. Trying to outsmart him is like playing a chess with a grandmaster. You won't win. And the stakes are a tad higher than bragging rights this time though. But let's not forget his superhuman strength. This isn't your average circus clown. Art can tear limbs off like he's pulling apart a rotisserie chicken. Overpowering him physically? It's not gonna happen. And weapons? He's got a whole arsenal, favoring anything with a sharp edge. Your best bet? Well, there isn't one. Oh, and if you think you're hiding, remember that creativity I mentioned? Art's got a knack for turning the mundane into the macabre. He's extraordinarily inventive in his methods, and let's just say he doesn't believe in a quick and painless demise. The more you resist, the more elaborate your end becomes. So, do you think you could take Art down? If a teleporting, super strong, sadistic clown doesn't faze you, well, you might be the bravest person alive, or the next name on his list. But if you think a silent teleporting clown is bad news, buckle up because we're diving into the twisted mind of a man who doesn't need superpowers to kill you. Meet John Kramer, better known as Jigsaw, the engineer of your worst nightmares and moral dilemmas you didn't know you had. Jigsaw isn't your run-of-the-mill horror villain. No supernatural abilities, no masks made of human skin, just a terminally ill man with a knack for engineering and a seriously warped sense of justice. John Kramer took a turn for the worst after a series of personal tragedies, including a cancer diagnosis and the loss of his unborn child. Instead of, seeking therapy, he decided to test people's will to live by placing them in elaborate death traps. Men will do anything but go to therapy, it seems. Because that's a normal coping mechanism. So why wouldn't you survive an encounter with Mr. Kramer? Well, let's get one thing straight. If you're on Jigsaw's radar, you're already in deep trouble. He doesn't pick his subjects at random. Nope, he zeroes in on those he deems unappreciative of their lives. And let's be honest, haven't we all hit snooze one too many times on opportunities in our life? But Jigsaw's traps aren't your average mouse traps. They're meticulously planned Ruby Goldberg nightmares designed to make you confront your darkest secrets. Think you can just hack your way out of them? Good luck. Each device is tailor-made to you, capitalizing on your fears and worst traits. It's like he read your diary, consulted your exes, and then weaponized that information. Escape, while theoretically possible, comes at a steep price. Success often means maiming yourself or making a choice that would haunt you forever. Lose a limb, sacrifice a friend, small stuff like that. And even if you do crawl out of one of his games, you're not off the hook. Jigsaw has a network of apprentices who are just as twisted and infinitely patient. They'll be watching, waiting for you to slip up, one wrong move, and you're back at square one. Or worse. Imagine waking up in a small room. The smell of rust and fear thicken the air. A creepy puppet rolls in on a tricycle and delivers the message. I want to play a game. Spoiler alert, it's not f***ing Monopoly. The rules are simple yet horrifyingly complex, designed to break you physically and mentally. The clock is ticking, and every second brings you closer to an end you can't predict. But here's the kicker. Jigsaw doesn't see himself as a villain. In his mind, he's offering you a chance at redemption, a renewed appreciation for your life. All you have to do is survive his twisted obstacle course of doom. No biggie, right? Now, if you're psychotic, you might be saying to yourself right now, nah, not me. I would easily get through the Saw movies. Well, consider this. Jigsaw anticipates your every move. He's 3 steps ahead, having planned for every possible escape route you might consider. And let's not ignore the moral dilemma you're tossed into. Jigsaw loves a good ethical dilemma, forcing you to make choices that pit your survival against your conscience. It's a lose-lose situation, and he is fully aware of that. So unless you're a saint with nerves of steel and a genius-level IQ, the odds aren't in your favor. So next time you think about cutting corners or screwing over a friend of yours or even keeping secrets tucked away, just remember, Jigsaw is watching. And trust me, you don't want to play a game of Monopoly with him. But if you thought you could survive Saw, wait until you can't even trust the very people around you, or even yourself. That's why we gotta talk about The Thing. The Thing is an extraterrestrial nightmare that crash-landed into our imaginations via John Carpenter's 1982 classic. Forget cute little green Martians, this shape-shifting parasite is more interested in turning your life into a real-world game of Among Us. And spoiler alert, everyone becomes the imposter. So what makes The Thing so uniquely terrifying? For starters, it's not just another alien out to zap us with laser beams. No, it's far more evil. The Thing assimilates any living organism it touches, perfectly mimicking its appearance, memories, and behaviors. But you're probably saying to yourself right now, nah, not me, I'd survive. Well, let's break down why you wouldn't. First, The Thing's ability to imitate anyone or anything makes it impossible to know who to trust. Your best friend, your spouse, even your pet goldfish Goldie could be The Thing in disguise. It's like playing hide and seek, except the seeker wants to absorb you, and hiding is futile because The Thing might already be you. Second, the assimilation process is alarmingly rapid and, shall we say, comprehensive. You could be infected before you even finish reading this sentence. One moment you're sipping coffee, the next you're part of an alien hive mind bent on world domination. Not exactly how you'd plan your day out, is it? Third, trying to eliminate The Thing is like playing whack-a-mole on expert mode. Chop off a tentacle? Congratulations, you've just created a new, fully autonomous nightmare. Each severed part can act independently, meaning your attempts to destroy it might only multiply your problems literally. But let's say you're feeling optimistic. You arm yourself with a flamethrower because, as the movie shows, fire seems to do the trick. Great, except that requires you to first identify The Thing among a group of terrified, paranoid individuals. Good luck conducting a calm and orderly investigation when everyone's side-eyeing each other like contestants on a reality show gone wrong. And let's not overlook the psychological torment. Paranoia becomes your constant companion. Who can you trust? Can you even trust yourself? The stress alone could be your undoing before The Thing even makes its move. It's like me in my dating life. Everyone's out to get me. For legal reasons, that's a joke. So unless you've got a foolproof method for detecting alien parasites and a global network to implement mass screenings, which judging by recent events seems unlikely, surviving The Thing is a long shot at best. But if you're sitting there still thinking, nah, I'd win, let me tell you about a corrupt secret society that will make your vacations a nightmare. Welcome to the dark underbelly of travel nightmares, the Hostel organization. Unlike our previous foes, this isn't some supernatural entity or a lone madman with a flair for the dramatic. Nope, this is a well-oiled machine run by the world's elite who have, shall we say, unconventional hobbies. So, who are these people? Imagine a secret society where the wealthiest individuals bid tons of money for the privilege to well, let's just say it's not the kind of experience you'd find on a TripAdvisor. They operate globally, luring unsuspecting tourists into seemingly ordinary hostels. The promise? Affordable lodging and maybe a chance to meet fellow adventurers. The reality? A one-way ticket into the organization's dungeon. Now, why wouldn't you survive an encounter with these fine, rich folk? Let's start with the obvious. Unless you're hiding a $1 billion inheritance, you're not exactly in their tax bracket. And in this twisted game, money talks, especially when it's used to silence anyone who poses a threat. First off, the organization's reach is nothing short of terrifying. They're not just in one country or even in one continent, they're everywhere. They've got scouts, informants, and probably a friendly receptionist who's offering you a discount for paying in cash. Their tactics are also disturbingly effective. Victims are carefully selected. watched for weeks, even months, to ensure they'll disappear without too many questions asked. Once targeted, you're drugged before you can say room service, waking up in a place where the term all-inclusive takes on a horrifying new meaning. So if you don't have a ton of friends and nobody is interested in your social life, you're the #1 target. But let's just say you're resourceful. Maybe you've seen a few action movies, know a bit of self-defense. Admiral, but remember, you're up against clients who pay top dollar for the experience. These aren't amateurs. They're people who can afford the best and most secure facilities to ensure nothing interrupts their little adventure. Escape? Highly unlikely when you're locked in a fortress designed to keep you in and the authorities out. Speaking of authorities, don't count on them for help. The Hostel organization has deep pockets and deeper connections, just like every government today. Bribes, blackmail, and influence mean local law enforcement might be inclined to look the other way, or worse, deliver you right back into their hands. It's a matter of time before they reel you back in. But if you think the scariest thing out there is a secret society of billionaires, well, that's cute, because let's take a detour into Cannibal City in Texas. It's time to go have dinner with a family of cannibals. One of them likes chainsaws. This is Leatherface, and he's proof that sometimes the most terrifying monsters are the ones without supernatural powers. He doesn't need to teleport or play mind games. Nope, he's all about brute force, a relentless pursuit, and a roaring chainsaw that he loves quite dearly. So who is this charming, handsome fellow? Leatherface, or Jedediah Sawyer if you're feeling formal, is the not-so-gentle giant from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Part of a cannibalistic family with a flair for interior design. You know, if bones and skin are your aesthetic. He's a mentally impaired individual who expresses himself with the only way he knows how, through terrifying masks made of human skin, and of course, his favorite power tool. Now you might think, he's just one guy. I could survive this, right? How can it be that hard to avoid him? Well, let's delve into why crossing paths with Leatherface is a one-way ticket to nowhere good. First off, Leatherface is built like a linebacker who ate another linebacker. His immense physical strength makes any notion of overpowering him laughable at best. Trying to wrestle the chainsaw from his hands, you might as well challenge a grizzly bear to a dance-off. But maybe you're saying to yourself, nah, I'm a fast runner, I'm nimble. Well, that brings us to our next hurdle. Location. 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 Leatherface operates in the most remote areas imaginable. Places where GPS signals go to die and roadside assistance is a myth. The labyrinth rural settings are his home turf, and he knows every nook, cranny, and hidden shortcut. You're not just running from him, you're navigating his personal, dark, twisted playground. But maybe you're feeling resourceful. Perhaps you think hiding is the way to go. Unfortunately, Leatherface isn't a solo act. His family's got his back, quite literally. The Sawyer family is a tight-knit group of cannibals who are just as twisted and unhinged. While you're busy dodging Leatherface, you might stumble into Grandpa or Hitchhiker. And trust me, they're not there to offer sweet tea and crumpets. Now, let's address the wildcard factor. Leatherface's mental state. He's unpredictable, operating on a logic that defies reason. You can't negotiate or plead your way out of this one. Compassion, mercy, a moment of hesitation, they're not in his repertoire. His motivations are as opaque as the mask he wears, adding another layer of terror because you can never anticipate his next move. So, could you escape Leatherface? Statistically speaking, your chances are not great. Unlike other horror villains, there's no ancient curse to break or puzzle to solve. The terror is raw and immediate. It's fight or flight, and given his advantages, neither option bodes well for you. But if you're delusional, you might still be saying to yourself, nah, it's just a dude with a chainsaw, I can run faster than him. Well, let's dive into a curse that doesn't care about any of your survival skills, or your escape plans, or even how fast you can run. In fact, all it takes is a single watching of this videotape, and you are effed. Meet Samara Morgan, the pale-faced girl with a stringy black hairdo that's never seen a comb. Don't let her age fool you, this is no ordinary child. Samara is the vengeful spirit at the heart of the Ring series, and she's got a home movie she'd love for you to watch. It's not a rom-com. You might think you're safe as long as you steer clear, but here's the kicker. If you even know about Samara existing, chances are it's already too late. Curiosity might not kill the cat, but it will definitely punch your ticket when it comes to this cursed videotape. So what's the big deal about a grainy VHS tape? but watching it grants you a 7-day grace period before Samara decides to make a personal house call. And trust me, she's not dropping by for tea and cookies. Once the static of the video fades and the eerie images crawl across your screen, the countdown begins. There's no pausing, rewinding, or deleting this nightmare. Now you might think there's a loophole, some clever hack to dodge the inevitable. The legend says if you make a copy of the tape and convince someone else to watch it, you can pass the curse along like a twisted game of hot potato. Sounds simple, right? Here's the catch. You have to ensure the other person watches your copy, and good luck living with the guilt of dooming someone else. And let's not talk about those 7 days. They're not exactly a vacation. Samara has a way of making her presence known. Subtly at first, flicker of the TV, a random voicemail with nothing but static. But as the days tick down, the hauntings escalate. Sleep becomes a luxury as nightmares bleed into reality. By day 6, you're questioning your sanity, jumping at shadows, and probably regretting every life choice that led you here. But wait, it gets even better. Samara has a unique talent for technopathic shenanigans. What does that mean? She can manipulate electronics, appearing on screens whether they're on or off. Oh, you're gonna try unplugging your TV? That's cute. She'll just crawl out of your smartphone instead. What about physical resistance? Well, forget about it. You can't punt a ghost back into the well she crawled out of. Samara transcends the usual limitations of our normal world. Bullets, running away, barricading yourself in a room are all useless. Imagine this, it's day 7. You're huddled in a corner, every light in the house is on, surrounded by a futile ring of salt you've read about on some internet forum. The clock strikes midnight and the TV turns on by itself. Static fills the screen and she begins to emerge, small hand gripping the edge of the well, followed by that mop of hair covering her face. Now after watching this, you might still be saying to yourself, nah, I'd be able to survive all of these horror movies. Well, I'd like to invite you to the comments section to tell me why you would survive, because I think you're wrong. But if you really think you could survive, like this video and subscribe, because I'll be making another video just like this about analog horror entities that you definitely won't be able to survive. If you want to see more movies if you want to see me talk about more horror movies that are just as scary as these ones, click the video on screen right now.